Writing is one of the most powerful tools that can help you grow if you want to grow the beyond the edges, and the advantages are far more than anyone can imagine. And it is a habit which is a kind of the must have habit, and here are the reasons that I found very much helpful about writing, and I'm going to share with you some of those. So the first thing is that when you write of things, it helps you clear your mind. So the most important thing that you can't overlook about the writing is that when you write it down, you clear your mind. When you write those things, you filter out the thoughts that are needed or not needed. You become an observer of your thoughts rather than just falling into the trap of living each and every thought unconsciously without choosing. So you become an observer of your own thoughts rather than living them, right? So when you just know all of those things, you know that these are the thoughts that I can accept and these are the thoughts that I can reject. You choose them consciously without judging. It's like when you are getting confused and when you are getting cluttered inside of your mind, you have now misled or misguided or in the not in the correct direction, then you can just write it down, and that will give you the clarity to get what you can do to get out of that confusion, what you can do to get the solution. So each and everything can be figured out by writing all of those things. So instead of just dragging yourself randomly through the wild thoughts that you're having, just writing down can clear your pathway and can direct you to the right ways. So that is the real thing that writing comes with. And when you just know that, okay, these are things that I need to accept and these are the things that I need to reject, that is the real focus that you build while writing, that what are the things that are supporting you and what are the things that are not supporting you. And that just makes a huge difference when you know yourself much more clearly, that how you are, how your thoughts are going, and what you need to focus on and what you need to reject. And similarly, when it comes to writing, there is one more thing that I want to share here, is that when you write it down by hand, so I'm just talking about by hand writing, right? So I'm not talking about typing. So if you are writing that way, then what happens is that research has shown that when you write something down, your brain regions get activated, and when these regions get activated, they foster up the relaxation sensation as well as potentially reducing up the stress and anxiety. So if you are feeling like overwhelmed and stressed and anxiety, and then if you just write it down everything, then you will feel relaxed. So that is also one advantage over that, and that is a huge change that you can bring to yourself if you are going through any kind of a stress. That will just release all of those things, right? And I guess that is also the same reason why you should always prefer writing the same things down in the pen and paper rather than sharing it with the person. Why I prefer writing than the person is that if you are going to share up something with any person that you know, then what you're going to do is that most probably most of the time it is going to be like you are going to overshare yourself, you're going to overexpress, and then that will trigger up you into feeling like a guilt of oversharing the things that you don't want to, and then you will feel like less powered, and then you will feel like a more complaining person, making up the more excuses, feeling like a victim rather than taking up the actions. So yes, it is completely a different thing when you share it with a person or when you write it down. So lamenting over your problems is different, and releasing it to clarity is different. So both the things are completely different. The next thing that comes with the writing is that when you accept some of the things, it starts becoming your nature. Okay, so this is a very really interesting thing that happens, is that when you accept the things, you start to improve on yourself. So the thoughts and everything that is coming in your mind, the feelings, all that you are feeling inside, everything is going to be like interconnected, right? So when you are feeling that, it is all in the blurred definition, right? So you are not completely defining it until you write it. So when you just write it down, you accept it, some of the things, and you remain true to yourself. You don't hide anything from yourself. You don't try to explain or over explain yourself, because you are only writing it down. You are talking to yourself, you are releasing it out, you are not explaining it to some person, right? So you are just to the point, and you are really true to yourself. That is the real difference that makes up the improvement, because when you are true to yourself, you know that you are not lying to yourself. This is the way how am I feeling right now. So when you just feel like, okay, I'm feeling up guilty, I'm feeling up jealous, I'm feeling anger, I'm feeling upset, I'm feeling confused, I'm feeling like anything that you are feeling, you are naming it specifically. So that specificity of naming it is giving you the personality that you are having, that true definition of who you are right now. So that you will know that, okay, I'm feeling this way, and now you will know that, okay, this is who am I really. And you are not faking it to someone, you are not trying to be someone, you are just being you. And that being you is going to change you a lot, because now you will try to change yourself. Now your mind will try to figure out the solutions for all of those things that you are feeling inside, that you want to change within yourself, that you decide to change with what you are having right now. Everything is going to improve you. So accepting is going to become your nature. So when you just write it down, all of those feelings, you are accepting that this is the way how I am, and that is the acceptance that is required. And then you start becoming the nature of your true self. You empower yourself by being yourself. You don't hide or lie or become someone else, right? So that is the thing that it gives you. The one more way of looking into it is that sometimes what happens is that when you are writing, for example, if I just write that I'm a marketing expert, the first time when I write this one line, when I'm not doing any of it, then the idea will be completely rejected by my mind, saying that you just don't know any kind of the thing that you are talking here about, writing here, and you just can't be that person. And then your mind will completely try to reject it. The next day, a little bit acceptance, a lot of the rejection, and then it will just try to improve. The 100th day, when you just write the same sentence, you will get yourself into the place where you now believe that now you can be a marketing expert. Now you just have like, okay, yeah, I can be that person, I can be the marketing expert. There is no reason that why I can't be that. So that is the real change that you can see when you keep writing or repeating those things. That is like an affirmation one, right? So what I want to say here is that when you write the things also without accepting it on the first place and without believing in it, you will believe in it in the 100th day. So you just have to keep writing it. So when you just, so there are just the two ways going on, right? So the one way is that first you need to write it down, and when you are writing it down, you're already knowing, they are just trying to accept it. And when you, whatever the feelings that you're feeling, so you're accepting it first and then writing it down, and then you are like, okay, I'm done. So you are accepting it and then writing it. That also works in changing your nature. And when you're writing it and then you are accepting it at some point of the time, that also works. So writing goes on both the ways. So I would just say that this is a really helpful one, because most of the time the writing is like acceptance that gives you the power. Yeah, one more thing is there that is similar to this situation I would just talk about. So when you are writing something, most of the time why the research shows that writing up the goals is going to make you achieve 90% of it, like faster, or you're going to achieve it definitely. It gives you the certainty and assurity to get into that goal. Why is that? Because first thing that happens here when you write up the goal is that you get the clarity. You are being specific with yourself that this is the real thing, this is the only thing that I want, and your mind is now focused on this only one thing rather than getting distracted on other 100 things. The second thing that comes is that it gives you as a reminder each and every time when you look on this goal. Every time you are being reminded that you can get there, it is going to give you the belief that you can be this person, you can get there, and you can achieve this. And that is the one thing about it. And most of the time when you just have that specificity with that goal, so what happens basically behind the scenes is that there is a generation effect, which is like when you are firstly deciding up the goal, you are having up the image in your mind, so there is a generation of that image that is going on in your mind, and you are like specific to it. And that generation, when you are writing it down, you are reprocessing it, and then the reimagination of the image is going on. You are filtering out and focusing on the things that you only want, and that is going to repeat up the images in your mind. And there is this generation, right? So there is 2 times it is going to be processed, so that is making up the whole things much more remembered, as well as giving you the much more clarity to get there where you want to go. So that is the generation effect. That's why most of the time you are remembering of the things that you generated by your own memory rather than by just reading it, right? So when you read it, you probably might have lost it within a few hours, but when you create it, you remember it because you are generating it and then again reprocessing it. So that is the thing that happens. The next thing that comes to writing is that you become conscious of your actions. Now when you take up the actions, this is really helpful. When you take up the actions, you are not unconsciously taking it. You are most of the time consciously taking it when you start building up this writing habit. So identifying up the conscious effort that you're making each and every day is playing up an important role in whatever the thing that you are trying to achieve. When you write it down, you will see that your actions are most of the time driven by the quick release of the dopamine, or the quick work satisfaction that does not require some of the long-term investments, and that is really affecting your lifestyle, your growth, and everything that is there. And when you become conscious, your actions are basically creating up your lifestyle, creating up your habit, creating up your routine, creating up your values, even also influencing your money, income, and also every part of the life that is going on. So every action needs to be taken consciously, and when you notice consciously and try to change it, that noticing part comes from writing. When you write it down, sometimes what happens is that we don't know why we are failing at this one thing, and when you just write it down, you will know that okay, so these are the actions that I'm taking unconsciously regarding this habit or regarding this one work. So when you just notice that these are the unconscious actions you're taking, then you just try to change it, and that comes from writing most of the time, because you will be much more clear that what you need to change and what you need to figure out in order to get there where you want to go. So yes, basically what you are doing is you are identifying up the tracking up the patterns that are there, which are unidentified and blurred before. and this is going to give you that answer. And this is going to be like, you are most of the time, when you just write it down, when you start writing it, you will see that you're 90% of the time taking on the unconscious actions without any knowing of yourself, and that is going to give you the specific actions that you need to take in order to get there, right? So the same thing applies to creating up an habit. So if you are willing to create up an unbreakable habit, you need to figure out that what are the conscious actions that I need to take. So you can just figure out that, okay, these are the things that I'm doing it unconsciously, and these are the things that needs to be done consciously, and the efforts are always taken consciously, right? So you will just need to figure out that one thing, and that will help you create up the habit. So just figure out that why are you failing at creating this habit? What are the unconscious actions that you are taking each and every day for, or in the opposite direction of that habit? And what is that conscious effort that you need to take in order to create that habit? That is the only thing that is required there. The next thing that comes with the writing habit is that it gives you the solutions to the questions that you ask. When you want any kind of answers for yourself in your life, any random question that you are trying to figure out, you write it down and you let yourself be open to get the answers from anywhere. Like, so you just keep looking for that answer, and that answer will come to you. You just need to ask that one thing while writing it down, and then you will just get the answer. That is the real quick thing that you can do. And if you are just getting stuck in any point of life, then you just need to get a pen and paper to solve that one thing, and the universe will know it. Now, so what happens is that when you are writing up the things, when you are asking that one question, now universe is not confused just as you were in your mind. Now the universe is knowing and reading your mind by the frequency that it has connected with you, the energy that is flowing in with you. That is reading up the whole thing, that question that you are asking with clarity. Now it knows the real question that it needs to solve. So now it becomes easier for the universe to get you the solution based on that one thing. And so that is very much quick, because it now is very much clear inside of your mind, as well as the message is very clear to that is getting to the universe. So that is the one thing that is happening by the side of it. The next thing that comes with writing is that you grow much more faster. You take up the accountability. When it comes to writing, you take up the accountability much more easier, like effortlessly, because when you just write it down, you just know each and everything that you are going through. Each and every mistake, you take up the accountability, you take up the responsibility, you learn through your mistakes. Whatever the things that you are doing in your work, your failures, your success, each and everything is going to be like helping you, right? And when you take up the accountability for your own growth, when you take up that responsibility that you need to change on this one thing, when you just know that one thing, you grow much more faster. And this is not only about like changing, it is also about committing to yourself. So when you know that this is my mistake and this is all of those things that are going on, then you commit to yourself much more firmly than you will be by saying to yourself, right? So writing down gives you the power. Like, you will just be like, why is it happening? And then you will like, I'm going to commit to this, and I'm going to change myself, and I'm going to work on myself and everything that you want to change. Then here comes a really great thing about writing, is that when you write the things, like, so when you write things daily, I'm saying about daily, right? So every single day when you're writing something, so now if I just think that, okay, I did up the mistake, I failed in this one thing, and I will just write that I just needed to take up the action, I just can't fulfill it, I just didn't took that action, any reason, any blaming or any complaining, that whatever I wanted to do, that I just wrote it there. But then what happens is that I'm going to commit to myself that okay, I'm going to change myself, and then I'm going to figure it out how am I going to make much more effort into that. And then the next day comes. The next day, if I'm not taking up the action, my mind and I am myself knowing that if I'm not going to take up the action, I have to repeat up the writing that I have written previously in the previous day. And I don't want to express the same kind of the complaint, excuse, and the blame game that I did yesterday. So I will just try to be much more committed to this one thing, and I will just try to put much more effort into changing myself rather than just writing the same things again on the paper, right? So when you just don't want to repeat that one thing, that is the real effect of the writing that you get. So you don't want to write up the story of your life again and again in the repeated same way. You want to change yourself, you want to write a different story, you want to write something new out there. Maybe you have said yourself sorry for the yesterday's work that you didn't do. Again, you don't want to say sorry to yourself, right, for not doing that one thing. You will be like, I don't want to do that again, I want to do that work. And that will give you the change, that will give you the new story that you want to write. You don't want to write the repeated things more oftenly in there. Now this does not mean that you won't be making up the mistakes or you won't be falling and slipping back. You will be falling and slipping back again and again into some kind of the mistakes or the failures or not taking the actions and something like that. But yes, it will give you, like, you will get there, you will fall, but always you will get up with a better version. You will become a better person each and every time when you get up again. The real thing that comes with the writing is that you don't want to repeat up the stories, so you learn it. So you take up the accountability, you take up the actions, you try not to repeat up the mistakes as much as possible. If you fail also, you just try yourself, be much more better person, take up the action and take up all the responsibility and accountability that you can. The last thing that I want to share about the writing is that it gives you the view of your growth. So you know what your growth is. So over the time when you keep writing, it's not going to be like, I'm not saying that you need to read all of those previous things that you have written out there. No, it's not about reading. It's already in your mind that you know that how much you have made of the progress from that version of you to this version of you, and how much you have like grown till today. It is going to give you the real satisfaction that does not comes by winning or losing, that does not comes by any kind of the success or failure, that does not defines any kind of the definition for the world, but it defines the real growth for you. And it will be like, you don't have to read it, you don't have to know each and everything that you have did. You will already know by the time you have gone through all of those things, and you will know that a lot of the improvements you did made. And it's a very great thing that you know from inside when you write it down, that where you were actually and how much progress did you made. So it's going to be an unexplainable thing even to yourself, because it has a lot of the things included in it, a lot of the emotions, a lot of the things that you wanted to do, and a lot of the failures, a lot of the mistakes, everything it is going to consist of it. And I just think that it is an act of reminder that of your potential. It reminds you of your potential and the potential that the universe has supported you each and every time. It is acting as a reminder of all of the miracles that happened with you. It is a reminder of each and everything that you went through and also overcame all of those things, and the potential that you carry inside, the energy that is inside of you, everything that you did, that you learned, that you made, everything is just like acting as a reminder to you. And It will just tell you that how you evolved from the person that was you before. This is it, and I just wanted to share all of those things that I just got myself, that writing is a beautiful habit that you can create, and that will help you grow even without your notice. So start writing if you are not writing it right now. So if you loved this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel, and see ya in the next video.